All right, so I thought I'd just give you a couple of pointers on doing the HR diagram lab. You should see in front of you a copy of the blank HR diagram that you're going to fill in and a partial list of, this is actually the nearby stars that you can have. You've got two lists of stars. One list is the nearby stars and one list is the brightest stars. And you're going to plot the spectral class and the absolute magnitude for each one of these stars. Now that gets a little bit tedious. There's about 30 or 35 stars on each list. So be prepared for that. Give yourself a little bit of time. And just to point out here that this second column of numbers and letters that you got, that's the absolute magnitude, which will be plotted on the vertical axis. And notice that goes backwards. It starts with the big negative numbers and then goes down to big positive numbers. And then you have on the second column here, the spectral type or spectral class, which is plotted along the horizontal axis like that. So what you'll be doing is for each one of the stars on this is finding the spot on the graph that corresponds to their spectral class and their absolute magnitude. So for this, it's a little hard to see on these fine lines, and I would recommend getting yourself a ruler so you can line yourself up on the different lines, but we'll plot these here. So for the sun, it's a G2 star. And so right here's the G2 line. I'm going to go up a little bit on that one so we can identify it. And then 4.83, well, you can probably see it's small numbers, but here's 4 and here's 5. So 4.83 is actually below the 4, almost to the 5, something about like that. And so then we can see that, okay, so the point for the sun would be right about there. And so plot that point and make that, leave that plot there. And then I'm going to remove the two lines, which are going to make the diagram be a lot more complicated. And then I'm going to continue doing that for all the stars on the list. So we'll do Proxima Centauri next, which is an M5 star. And so here's M4, here's M6. So it'd be something going up somewhere like that on that line. And then it's a 15.45 for the magnitudes. Here's 15, here's 16. So somewhere about like that. And there I get the spot for Proxima Centauri. Then I'll go on and continue that. First, let me remove those lines. The next one, Alpha Centauri A, is also a G2 star. So we could see that it's going to be on the same line, vertical line as the sun, but it's a little bit brighter, 4.38. So it would go somewhere about like this. 4.38 would be right about there or so. And then continue that on, right? So what you'll find as you do that, you'll see that you get good many places filled in for the stars near us and good many places filled in for the brighter stars. A couple of things in this, you want to use either a different shape or a different color as you're marking the two different lists of stars. So I'm using blue for the stars nearby. I might want to use, like, say, this orange for the stars that are the brightest stars. So I can tell them apart when I'm looking at the list. Now, as you go down through and do this, what you'll find is that you'll fill in the main sequence, which is going to be something that looks more or less like this, or so, just roughly drawing it in. And so stars on that are main sequence stars, and you can look in your textbook for the particulars of all the different things that that means. But I did want to point out a couple of things specifically about this. So first off, there's a couple of questions that ask you to identify stars on each list that are red giants and stars that are white dwarfs. White dwarfs generally will be in this region right down in here that I'm highlighting with the orange. So any stars in there will be, or in that general area, will be considered white dwarfs. And as far as red giants goes, there's a specific definition of red giant as a particular phase in the life cycle of a star, but more loosely in terms of an observational type thing, which is what we're doing in this lab. Pretty much anything on the right side is the cooler type stars, so those will be redder. And then if they're above the main sequence, then they'll be giant stars. So pretty much anything up in this area will be red giants, at least in terms of answering the questions that you got in lab. All right. Well, hope that helps. Let me know if you have any questions.